star signal.
Excuse me, can we use the chair as a prop?
No, do not. No, I want to remove that bit. It's not good. Yeah. Are we supposed to do that?
Yeah.
So I have the inside. Oh, so do we get down or?
Whenever you're ready.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Smith Ha. These are my two companions.
My name is Mai. And I'm Vòng.
Today we are here to present to you how to make society more disability friendly. Let's begin with an outline of our speech. Our speech is composed of two parts. The first part is regarding what are disabilities, and the second part is regarding how to make society a more disability friendly place. So, as the chronological order goes, let's start with number one. What are disabilities?
Disability is a consequence that results in restriction on an individual's ability to participate in what is considered normal in their everyday society. A disability may be presented from birth or occur during a person's lifetime. We divide it in 5 groups. First is physical disabilities, affect a person's mobility and dexterity. And sensory disabilities, affect a person's abilities to hear or see. Intellectual disabilities affect a person's abilities to learn, and psychiatric disabilities affect a person's thinking processes, and the last, neurological, that results in the loss of some bodily or mental functions.
Okay, now that you've heard what disabilities in general are, I'm going to move on to how to make society more disability friendly. Now, imagine if you're in a wheelchair or, on crutches, that sort of stuff. Imagine how hard it will be to limp into a bus, get onto a taxi, go into the toilet, and worst of all, climb upstairs. Very hard in a wheelchair, I can tell you that. So, obviously, the solution here is to make public infrastructure more accessible to these disabled people. The first thing we should do is make public transport a more accessible place. I mean, it's very hard to get onto buses because it's just a step off the pavement, and if you miss, you fall onto the water. So yeah, that's the first step in improvement. The second improvement is to create specialized facilities inside of houses such as toilets, kitchens, storerooms, and access ramps. All of this to allow disabled people to do things that normal people would be able to do much easier. We need to adapt and help these people.
So, most disabled people want to work, but the sad thing is the employment rate of disabled people still remains around 50%, comparing to the 75% of overall working population. And they have to face many barriers, and those barriers has to be considered and acted upon by us and the government. You know the saying, give a man a fish and you feed him for one day. Teach a man how to fish, however, will feed him for a lifetime. That's basically my point. Provide stable work and stable income for the disabled. For example, my uncle used to own a restaurant where disabled people get to be chefs and waiters and waitresses.
But wait, then what about the people who can't work? People who can't move their arms and legs?
In those cases, those people need aid and shelter. So the government and the people should raise a fund to help them economically, and also give them shelter and accommodation. Yeah, basically.
Now, disability is only a matter of perception. Disabled people are like butterflies without wings. They are just as beautiful as us, but they need help to spread their wings. They are still just like any other human, but so that they should be treated like a normal human. Discrimination doesn't show the thing we call love between human and human. Why don't we just look at them and laugh and whisper to each other, they're so ugly? Why don't you put yourself in their position, and you will feel all the pain, the sadness, and loneliness they have to face. Then you understand how hurtful it is.
That's why we should reduce and furthermore eliminate discrimination towards disabled people by teaching kids in early age not to discriminate or spread messages about non-discriminating ideals. Also, for those who discriminate.
Okay, so that was all of our proofs and ideas on how to make society a more disability-friendly place. Well, you better have listened well because otherwise we'll be very troubled.
And hopefully, after listening to us talking about disabilities, you will change your behavior and treatment with the disabled. And remember that
how the society treats the disabled is the true measurement of civilization.
Don't discriminate against the disabled people. Whether mental or physical, whatever defects they may have, they're still human. They have emotions, just like you and I.
And our human family is completed when everyone is included.
Thank you.
My question is, one key limitation to people with disabilities is the issue of mobility, right? So my question is, what is one concrete way we can make the transportation infrastructure in Hanoi more disabled friendly?
Create ramps for people to get onto the damn bus.
Do you want to elaborate on that further?
And also, artificial limbs is being developed day by day, so that is a great news for the disabled.
But even though artificial limbs are very promising to the field of research, it still may not be a concrete solution to your satisfaction. Therefore, I propose to create more accessible ideas. For example, extendable ramps or openable banks, stuff that they do in Europe, Australia, that sort of thing. It would be very helpful for these sort of people, and for lack of mobility, there should always be someone, an attendant or something, helping these people to get on.
Yeah, so I agree with you that perception is one of the biggest issues facing the disabled. As we saw in the trailer for the documentary, the nurse actually was telling him, no, he can't do it. How can we help fight these perceptions and enable disabled people to do anything they want to?
Well, we do the only thing that's right. Create harsh and cruel, justful punishments so that these people will not repeat their mistakes. Drill it into their heads that discrimination is bad because, totalitarian rules. But that's just my opinion, so let's hear it from both of my companions.
I think yes. They should not think about that again, because I told you that discrimination it doesn't show the love between human and human. We should treat them like they're just like us. So anyone can make their dream come true. So we should not think about it again. It's obviously right.
So like I told you before, we should teach kids and deliver messages to people not to discriminate. And because the disabled is like us, and so they should be treated like one. Whatever. And
but even if we try our best to prevent discrimination, it's pretty much unavoidable. It's actually part of human culture. From ancient times, we've been finding ways to push out weaknesses, push something onto another person. Even if they're not disabled, some of us still find numerous methods and ways to crush other people's dreams. So even as unavoidable as it is, I believe that through our methods, we could always do the best to reduce the number of people who can do this. There is no surefire way, there's only trying and testing.
Thank you. So Haiti just talked about the mobility of disabled people, but then you did mention about people with neurological disability. So it's not just about mobility, but about thinking as well. So how can we facilitate them?
For these neurologically affected people, there are many side consequences. Their general action, reflex, mobility, everything is decreased, usually, as a consequence of these mental side effects. So the best way to actually help these people would be at all times to have a reliable aid close by, someone to help them, guide them, and even no matter how heavily they might be affected in a neurological disorder, it shouldn't be impossible, because even if their neural pathways are completely blocked and they can't move at all, absolute paralysis, there are still people like that in the world, and they can still live well and healthy. And it's not that much difference from people with, who lost a limb, lost 2 limbs, or just lost mobility of their body. There should not be a problem with it, because as long as there is human love and human help, we should be able to get through it.
Okay, thank you to judges for all your hard work.